Have you ever felt like you are wrestling with life itself? You plan every detail, control every step, yet the harder you grip, the faster it slips through your hands. Your heart races when work refuses to go your way. Your breath shortens when a relationship strays from the path you mapped out. Your hands clench as if letting go would make the whole world collapse. But the tighter you hold, the more exhausted you become. The body grows heavy, the mind tangled, and in rare quiet moments, you ask yourself, am I truly living, or am I forcing life to obey? What you do not see is that this effort to control is what pushes life away. It is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it spills. The harder you swim against the current, the deeper you sink. And the paradox is this: the moment you release, the water begins to lift you. Alan Watts once called this the art of living. Not the control of every wave, but the ability to ride with them. Not giving up, but cooperating with the flow. What you mistake for weakness is, in truth, a forgotten strength. And, in the next few minutes, we will step into a secret. Why stopping the force does not make you passive, but sets you free. And once you touch that truth, the way you see life will never be the same again. Have you noticed how long you've been living like this? Always needing to control everything. Have you noticed? How long have you been living in that state? Always needing to control everything. Set the alarm earlier so you will not be late. Yet you still spend the whole day chasing schedules like a machine. You check emails, messages, and notifications again and again, as if missing one would make your whole life collapse. You plan every detail for work, for love, for the future, and each time life shifts even slightly, your chest tightens, your heart races, sweat dampens your palms. The tension seeps into every breath, every glance, making you feel as if someone is always chasing you. Two situations are the most familiar. At work, you try to prove you can control every project, every detail, yet no day ever goes exactly as planned. Each disruption leaves you both angry and exhausted. In relationships, you struggle to control emotions, to control how others see you. You pretend to be fine, smiling while storms rage inside, because you fear that if you relax even for a moment, others will see the real you. These efforts do not bring peace. They leave a bitter aftertaste. The more you force, the more you miss. The more you try to grasp, the faster it slips away. You look around and find yourself comparing, competing, craving to be above. But each time you think you have it, the emptiness inside only grows wider. The truth is that forcing life does not only drain your energy, but it also erodes your trust in the natural flow. It makes you like a swimmer fighting upstream, always thrashing, never resting. And the exhaustion does not come from the strength of the river. It comes from your refusal to let it carry you. The problem is not a lack of discipline or poor planning. The problem is mistaking control for freedom. You think the tighter you hold, the safer you are. But the truth is that gripping so tightly is what binds you. And at some point, you will have to admit, life does not need your force. It only needs you to let go enough to see the path already waiting. Alan Watts once said that people suffer not because life is too chaotic, but because we insist on trying to master the chaos. Life is not a machine to be controlled. Life is a piece of music, and your task is not to grip every note, but to move with the rhythm. Think about it. The beauty of music is never in the single notes. It is in the silence between them. Yet in daily life, you hate silence, you fear letting go, and you try to fill every space with plans and control. In the East, they call this secret Wu Wei, action without forcing. Do not mistake it. Wu Wei is not lying still or surrendering to fate. It is the courage to stop straining. to let life itself lead the way. Like when you swim, if you thrash wildly, you exhaust yourself and sink. But if you know how to lean back, to loosen, the water lifts you. Have you ever watched someone ride a wave? They cannot force the ocean to obey. All they can do is listen, watch, and choose the right moment to join the wave. And in that instant, the power of the sea becomes their power. That is Wu Wei. That is the art of living. Here lies the paradox. Letting go looks like weakness. You were taught since childhood that strength means gripping, pushing, and controlling. But the truth is the opposite. Only when you let go are you strong enough to allow life to carry you. Think back to the last time you forced something to the end. Your body tensed, your chest grew heavy, your head ached. And the harder you tried, the more tangled it became. Then came the moment when you gave up and something strange happened. The problem found its own direction. In that moment, you realized you did not need to force. Life moved anyway. And deep inside, you felt a quiet relief. That moment was your first taste of freedom. Have you noticed this familiar loop? The more you fear losing control, the harder you grip. And the very act of gripping is what makes everything shatter faster. You plan every detail, calculate every possibility. Yet the moment one piece shifts out of place, your chest tightens, your heart races, your hands turn cold. Instead of stepping back, you double down, trying to control twice as much. And so the circle closes. The more you control, the more disorder you create. The more disorder you feel, the tighter you grip. This is not just a habit. It is an unconscious mechanism. The fear of being abandoned, the fear of chaos, the fear of not being good enough, all pushed down into deeper layers. But they do not disappear. They return in a subtler form, pushing you to control as a way to soothe yourself. You believe you are protecting yourself, but in truth, you are locking yourself inside an invisible cage. Picture a handful of sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. The harder you try to hold, the more you lose. Forcing life works the same way. It is the effort to cling that pulls you away from what you most want to keep. And here is the brutal truth. If you do not see this mechanism, you will lose more than peace. You will lose yourself. You will live a lifetime in a spiral of exhaustion, calling it fate. But pause here and listen closely. Because if you stay until the end of this video, you will see what most people never understand in a lifetime. Control is not power. It is a hidden chain. And the moment you unfasten it, you will for the first time touch real power. The power of release. The power of letting the current carry you. This is the loop of the unconscious, forcing disappointment, forcing harder. It does not care how tired you become. It only knows how to repeat. Until you dare to look directly at it and admit that the problem is not lack of effort. The problem is effort in the wrong direction. The craving for control is the same as any craving in addiction. It is not proof of your weakness. It is a message. Each time you feel yourself wanting to tighten your grip, it is fear knocking at your door. And instead of fighting it, you can listen. In the instant you loosen your hand from the sand, what you were afraid to lose finally has the chance to remain with you most naturally. That is the moment you stop being dragged through life. You become the observer, and from that position you can choose another way to live. Imagine yourself in a small boat, a storm raging across the open sea. The wind screams, the waves crash hard against the sides. Your sail is torn, and the ropes are stretched to their limit. In panic, you grip the rope tighter, pulling with every ounce of strength, convinced that if you strain enough, the boat will be safe. But the harder you pull, the more the sail rips. the more the boat tilts, the more water pours in. And in that instant, you see the paradox. The very effort to save the boat is the effort that is sinking it. Forcing life works the same way. You believe that if you control harder, everything will turn out better. But it is that control itself that pulls you off course. The tighter you pull, the more strained your relationships become. The harder you squeeze, the more chaotic your work becomes. The more you push, the more your body breaks down. What you thought was strength is the very thing making you weak. The answer is not to pull harder, it is to release. When you loosen your grip, the torn sail still catches the wind. The boat does not fight the storm, it uses the storm to move forward. And in that moment, you see it clearly. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means cooperating with something larger than you. There are three qualities in this metaphor you must remember. The first is the wind, symbolizing the events beyond your control. You cannot order the wind to obey. The second is the torn sail, symbolizing your own imperfections, your wounds, your fragile places. The more you deny them, the wider the tear becomes. And the third is your own hand. The choice to grip or to release is what decides where the boat will go. You can keep pulling, tearing the sail apart, dragging the boat down in despair. Or you can release. Let the wind take hold. Let the boat find its rhythm on the waves. Life is the same. The more you strain, the more you lose. But when you allow yourself to let go, you begin to see, even in the storm, there is still a current ready to carry you forward. If you are honest, you will see yourself in these small loops. You wake and immediately check your phone, eyes locked on the screen as if life will fall apart if you miss one notification. Your heart beats faster when you see unanswered emails, and your hands turn cold at the thought of being judged as slow. You rush through the day, but when evening comes, you cannot remember doing anything for yourself beyond chasing the schedule. At work, you force yourself to be flawless. You rewrite a report 3 times just to hide a tiny error. You create task lists broken down to the minute. But when the unexpected happens, everything collapses and you lose control. Instead of accepting it, you blame yourself, then throw in twice the effort. The result is a body worn down and a mind so tired that creativity cannot survive. In relationships, you push yourself to always be fine. You swallow anger, bury sadness, smile while storms rage inside. You believe controlling your emotions will keep people from leaving. But what you do not see is that every time you pretend to be fine, you drift a little further from yourself. The most frightening part is the silent emptiness. The more you try to control to feel safe, the more lost you become. And at some point, you ask, if I can no longer control, am I even myself? In that moment, you become like a shadow, still moving, still smiling, but no longer truly present. Forcing life takes more than you realize. It not only drains your energy, but it also erodes the trust you once placed in yourself. And if you continue, you risk losing the only thing worth keeping, the sense that you are truly alive. Have you noticed how the words you use to name your experience become the invisible chains that bind you? You call life a battlefield, and immediately you feel the need to fight. You call work a race, and at once you feel exhausted, chased, never allowed to rest. You call a relationship a struggle to hold on, and you begin to fear loss at every moment. The language you choose becomes the lens that decides how you live. If you want to step out of the loop, you need a new language. Instead of, I must control, whisper, I am listening. Instead of forcing myself, I say I am cooperating with the flow. It sounds small, but the truth is that every liberation begins with a shift in naming. Alan Watts once said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Water settles when you allow it to rest." In the same way, life does not need you to stir it endlessly. It needs you to step aside long enough for it to adjust itself. A new language allows that shift, from confrontation to listening, from gripping to cooperating. But here is a gentle warning you need to hear. If you keep calling control strength, the loop will never break. The unconscious will push you back into the game. The more you force, the more you lose, until you are drained and still unaware. Try repeating this rhythm of 3 to yourself. The more you force, the more you strain. The more you strain, the more you crack. The more you crack, the further you drift from yourself. And it all begins with the way you name it. A new language will not erase the storm, but it will give you another way to stand inside it. Instead of seeing yourself as someone swept away, you see yourself as the one holding the sail, knowing when to release, so the wind can carry the boat forward. This is reframing. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is shifting power, from resisting life to letting life support you. And once you trust this language, you begin to see that your strength was never in tightening harder. It was always in daring to loosen. And in that moment, you no longer see yourself as a tired shadow. You begin to see yourself as the observer, calm, free, even as the storm still rages all around you. If you wonder where to begin, there are 3 small steps you can try today. Step 1. Pause. When you feel yourself about to tighten everything, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am pulling the sail too hard. Naming the action is like placing a mirror in front of you. You see what you are doing. Step 2. Observe. Instead of rushing to fix, listen to the body. How is your heart beating? How is your breath moving? Are your hands clenched? Observation pulls you out of the spiral, as if standing on the deck watching the waves instead of being swallowed by them. Step 3. Choose one small act of release. It could be loosening your shoulders, delaying a reply to a message, or simply stepping outside to look at the sky for a few minutes. That is how you ease the rope, letting the wind carry the boat. The point is not to erase the urge to control, but to learn how to stand inside it and choose differently. Each time you do this, you train a new habit, the habit of cooperating instead of forcing. And little by little you realize, life keeps turning without you straining to hold it in place. There is a silent price you pay each time you keep forcing life. It does not strike in a single day. It erodes you little by little. The first price is energy. You think you are controlling more, but in truth, you are only draining faster. You wake up tired, you go to bed heavy, as if life itself has turned into a race with no finish line. The second price is relationships. The harder you strain to keep everything right, the further you drift from real connection. Others no longer meet you. They only meet a strained version of you. And the greatest price is identity. One day you look in the mirror and do not recognize who is there, because every action has been driven by the fear of losing control. That moment is terrifying in its silence. Alan Watts once warned that trying to control the future is like trying to control a river with your hands. The water will always slip through your fingers, and what you are left with is only the feeling of failure. This is the brutal truth of forcing life. You cannot stop the flow. You can only stop yourself from living fully in it. But there is also an opening. When you let go, you do not lose power, you shift power, you stop straining to control. and you begin listening to cooperate. And the miracle is that in the space created by no longer forcing, creativity appears, real connections grow, and you feel yourself alive in a way you have not felt before. The cost of forcing is to live like a prisoner inside your own life. The reward of release is a freedom you have never known. And that freedom does not wait for tomorrow. It begins the moment you dare to loosen the rope that is wearing you down. Imagine walking through a garden after the rain. No one commands the flowers to bloom. No one forces the grass to turn green. And yet somehow it happens. The shoots break through the soil. The petals unfold. The fragrance spreads. None of it comes from strain. It comes from a deeper rhythm, a natural order. Your life is the same. You do not need to tighten your grip to make it grow, because like the garden, it already knows how to bloom in its own season. Many people live their whole lives in the illusion that happiness only arrives when they control every detail. But the truth is gentler. Happiness comes when you allow life to unfold and you remain present enough to witness it. So the next time you feel yourself straining to drag everything back under control, remember this garden. You can let go, you can step back and let nature do its work. And in that moment, you will see that freedom is not getting everything you want. Freedom is the ability to listen and move in rhythm with what is already here. And if what I share resonates with you, stay with me by subscribing. Because perhaps on the next part of the journey you will discover another garden within yourself, one that has been waiting for you all along.